Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Classic Engineering 10850. This is their boring kit, or a jig kit, used for drilling 2 1/8, 1.5 inch diameter holes, crossbore holes, the 1 inch diameter edge preparation. The tool can do 2 3/8, 2 3/4, 3 3/4, and 5-inch back sets, and is a staple in the arsenal of many carpenters, contractors, people who get into door work a lot. Carpenters that have a specialty when it comes to doors, they're going to have a tool like this all the time. I'm personally not someone who has spent time using a jig kit, but only because I prefer to do it a different way, meaning I prefer to do it with templates and routers or more sophisticated equipment. But I generally am doing that in a shop setting where I'm not going to the field. This is, and I have certainly, a very convenient way to walk up to the job site with this in one hand and your electric drill in the other. This will allow you to really get it done. And just a couple of other tools will allow you to completely do lock work, lock preparation work on the go. You know, locksmiths, this is going to be common for them to have. So that's what the case looks like. Boring jig kit by Classic Engineering. This is their 10850. This kit weighs just over 10 pounds. And that's your your orange case. Snaps on the front, your handle. To give you an idea of the dimensional properties of the case before we take a look at the inside of it. Overall width of the case is 13.5 inch. Overall height of the case is going to be about 5 3/4, with an overall depth of the case about 10 inch. Okay. Now here we go. The moment we're all waiting for. Your 2 snaps. That's going to come up. That's what the kit looks like new. You're going to pull away that bubble wrap naturally. And by the way, installation instructions, which are a decal, are included in the back. What I know that some people are going to do is pull, if they can, this off the back, although they generally request it not glued down, is what people will do, and then insert that in the back and use these loose. I've had some clients do, and that's not a problem. But that's a decal. And there's a link below this video to the installation instructions. This is a generic set. It does not include the 3 3/4 or 5-inch installation instructions, but that's really not necessary to have to include that because it's obvious once we look at the tool. So here it is. That's what we're dealing with. You got the business end of the tool, which is the big portion in the center. You've got your 2 multi-spur bits. You've got your latch bolt face chisel tool. You've got your strike marking tool. You've got your 1-inch spade bit. You've got your quick change. You've got your bushing and Allen wrench, and then one part that you can't see, which is the marking chisel for the strike. So I'm going to take out the business end, the clamp end of this, and we're going to go over it. Fits real nice inside, and I'm going to put this aside so it's not in the way, and we're going to now visually review the items one at a time. There it is. Looks complicated, but it's not. There's nothing really to this, and that's one of the things that makes this a very elegant tool, in that it's very simple, it's very straightforward, and it's well manufactured. And it's still not so heavy that it makes it difficult to work on the door. Your big turn handle here is what is going to allow you to clamp this onto the door. You're going to want to make sure that you are getting this put down onto the door so that you're clamping. Very smooth surface. Don't over tighten it. There's just no reason to do that, but tight enough. You've got this bolt here that will allow you to reset this should you be routinely doing a specific door size that you want to be sure that you are clamping down to. It will need to be set when you get the 1 3/4 thickness, or 1 3/8, or 2 inch, or 2 1/4. You want to set that bolt via that I forget the name of that nut, that fly nut that's there. Okay, wing nut, forgive me, wing nut. Okay, so now you're going to set your door thickness. Okay, you'll adjust that threaded rod with the wing nut once you know the thickness that you're doing. It'll stay there unless, of course, you change. you're going to have 2 feeler gauges, one here and one here, and that's how you set the back set. Real simple. Just push that spring-loaded tab on the end and set the back set. It's currently set for 3 3/4, which I know is unusual, but it's not. You'll run into 3 3/4 in hospital installation with push-pull latches and 5-inch. So you're going to depress that, and then your feeler gauge is simply going to snap into whatever you're doing. Set to 2 3/4 right now. Okay. That'll go 2 3/8 or 5-inch. We'll talk about how that works. Or the last one, 3 3/4, and obviously set it on both sides. The concept there is that when you put this onto the door, you've got your 2 feeler gauges here and here that you're going to bump up to the edge of the door. Take special note that it's beveled. If you have a bevel on the door, be sure that you're installing it in the proper way on the door to be compliant with the bevel. Otherwise, your back set's going to be a little bit off. So absolutely check that first. Okay. Now, the one thing that's not discussed here at all is how to locate your center line on the door. And, you know, however you go about doing it is how you go about doing it. You might say to yourself, well, I'm going to determine the top of this plate to the center of the hole, and then mark here, knowing that I'm adding X dimension, whatever it is. I personally would probably look to mark the probably going to need to make up elegantly doing that. You know, you've got the bushing where the spade bit goes in, but when the bit is loaded, you won't be able to see it. You might mark the center line of the prep, and then maybe use it to judge that little bolt head that you see in the back side of here and down in here, and just center it off like that. Generally, people who are using this tool are not concerned with it being ever so slightly off, meaning that if it's 38 or 38 1/16, it just doesn't matter, because this also has a provision for marking the frame location based on what you've done to the door. However, in my business, where the frame location is already determined, you need to make sure that your lock prep height is absolutely accurate. So you might experiment with how you're going to go about doing that. I might want to look at the edge of the door myself, is how I might want to do that. Because once this tool is loaded with its 2 bits, it'll become heavier. So you'll have to determine the best way to do that. Okay, marking the door in such a place where when you drill it, you'll remove your pencil mark as well. Okay, so you might want to consider how best to do that. I suppose I might try doing something like, you know, knowing what my center line is, and knowing what the deduct is for the top of the plate, and then what the adder is for the bottom of the plate. And I might make 2 real small pencil lines on the edge of the door to mark the top and the bottom. Bring that down and just center my tool on those 2 lines and be done. I might do that. I might experiment with that for a while, or just come up with another way of doing it. So I had mentioned loading it with the bits. I think we've covered everything on here. This is going to be the side where the bits enter. The spade bit will go into here, and let's go over those parts now. Starting with the edge, you're going to get a 1-inch spade bit. Okay, this is replaceable. Not uncommon. You drill enough doors, you'll need to replace that bit, or at least have it sharpened. And that's going to load into the tool prior to any drilling, obviously. You have to put this into the tool first before you put it on the door. So you're going to draw that back. Okay, and that bushing will get down there. Get that spade bit down into the tool. It's first time in, requires just a little bit of working, but after just a little bit of hand shimming, it'll get all the way buried down into where it can reside right down in the edge of the housing without making any contact. Okay, with the edge of the door. That spade bit is going to sit right in there like that, as you can see. Now, hopefully, as you can see. So that's one of your 2 cutting tools loaded. Then you're going to bring your spade bit. I will grab the 2 1/8. That's obviously just green wax that's on there, and you peel it off, and then your 2.5 as well. So you will then load that tool down through whatever hole. We'll just do the first one. I think that's going to be the 2 3/8 and 2 3/4 prep. Okay, we're able to fit that through there even with the wax on. And there's your installation. So you'll mark your door after your back sets are correct. You're going to make sure that your bevel on your feeler gauges are correct. Install it however you're going to install it. Tighten it down to the door. And then at that point, you're ready to roll. I would always do the crossbore first. Put my... And the next thing to show you is the quick change tool that's here. That will get into your chuck, your tool chuck. That'll stay there. The quick change is going to allow you to get your bits on for all of them nice, quick, and easy. Whether it's the 1.5" spur, the 2 1/8 spur, or the 1-inch spade. That makes that real fast and easy. That stays in your tool while you're in your drill while you're doing all the work. Doesn't come out. That's quick. You're not removing bits. That's the important part. Gosh, you could set up a chain of people doing these. One person's going to mark the door. The next person will place and drill the 2 holes. That tool goes to the next door. Then another person's going to come and do the chisel work. Another person will come and do the frame work. It could be very... you can set it up with one tool very easily. So I would always drill the crossbore first, because that will give me an area for the spade bit to exit its wood out and through. Then this would come next. Okay. Once you have your hole drilled, you can remove the clamp from the door. Loosen that out, obviously. There you go. Now, I'm going to remove these bits from the tool just so that I have them put safely aside. Very nice bronze bushings that are there. Now the next tool, which is worth its weight in gold, is the marking tool. Now you've got a 2 1/8 hole or an 1.5" hole through the door. You've got your 1 inch in the edge. You're going to insert this marking tool down through that hole, push your finger in the 2 1/8, and mark the frame. Now you know the center line of where that's got to be, the strike has to be for the frame. Speaking of the frame, not yet. This will insert into the hole in your door. You're going to hold it vertical. You're obviously going to take and give that a smack. You're going to mark it. Some people will use that to get nice and deep, do some chisel work. I would like to come back and hit it a couple more times, a little deeper, do your chisel work, then it's nice. This is going to be 1 inch wide by 2 1/4 tall. Okay, 2 1/4 tall, 1 inch wide. That's your latch bolt mark. If you need one that's a bit wider, you might still use the same tool to give your prep, but you're going to have to cheat it out a 1/16 of an inch if you're doing a 1 1/8 wide latch bolt. Now there are tools that are available for that. You might purchase that separately. This cutting edge can be removed and sharpened or replaced. Generally replaced is what happens with that. Then you're going to chisel the work down smoothly. You have your full lip strike here that you'll do your prep on. Okay, you're going to drill that 1 inch hole exactly where you need it to go into based on how you've marked it, and you take that, give that a couple of wraps, and you're going to do chisel work for the rest. Same scenario, removable cutting edge. The last thing in the kit to show you is the spacer ring. That is going to be what you'll use for your 1.5" hole, the set screw, the Allen wrench. You sure get the concept of what has to happen there. Back that out. That spacer is going to go in. You can notice that there's a groove there, and that's for that set screw to sit into. This material is very nicely machined, so it fits in exactly how it has to go. Okay. Yes. Very good. Okay. And as we're getting that spacer put on, I find it easier always to install that through the interior side. Flush that out, and you can tighten your set screw, and that will be your 1.5 inch diameter guide for the spur bit. So that ring will go back into the case. The Allen wrench will go back into the case. And finally, the tool will go back into the case. Very nice quality item, there's no doubt. The truth of the matter is this. I had said initially that I prefer to use routers and templates, and this tool is not inexpensive. The fact of the matter is your investment on routers and templates will make this look inexpensive. So it's also a question of what's the smartest fiscal way to go about doing the work as well. And pound for pound, carpenters are going to walk in off the street right to the sales counter and say, give me that lock bore jig kit. That's it. That's all. Very common. Okay. If you have any questions on this tool or drilling doors for lock sets, please do not hesitate to reach out. I have personally done the work countless times, literally countless times, and enjoy assisting others in learning how to do it, or maybe making better how they go about doing it. The name Classic Engineering is synonymous with bits, tools, boring kits for prepping wood doors and wood frames for hardware. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Classic Engineering products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website. Very handy. If you have any questions on the Classic Engineering 10850 lock, jig, or boring kit, or any other Classic Engineering product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.